Welcome to this lesson on understanding situational leadership. This presentation will provide an overview of the Situational Leadership Model. Now let's get started. The definitive early leadership style research comes from Paul Hersey and Kenneth Blanchard, which they expressed in their Situational Leadership Model. So far, we have discussed leadership attributes and influence on followers. The Hersey-Blanchard model addresses the key to practical leadership development, the attributes and styles of the followers. Not everyone is on the same intellectual, maturity, compliance or motivational level. Different people are motivated by different things, and this must be taken into account if one is to be a great leader. Communications experts consider it critical to tailor your message to your target audience. It is the followers that you want to motivate and influence, and you cannot do that if you don't know whom you are trying to motivate or influence. Remember, a leader is not a leader if nobody follows. The Situational Leadership Model addresses 4 types of leadership styles, based on the notion of the follower. These are telling, selling, participating, and delegating. The goal is to develop followers to the delegating level, as seen in the matrix here, which distinguishes followers as requiring high or low levels of direction, and high or low levels of support from the manager. S1, or Situation 1, is the lowest level of leadership style. Most new employees require direct instructions, so this is called the telling or directing style. The follower is characterized by low competence and low commitment, being unable and unwilling to comply, with possible feelings of insecurity. The leader must focus highly on tasks, rather than a relationship with the employee, as a relationship does not yet exist. In S1, when an employee can't do the job because they are unknowledgeable, unwilling or afraid, the leader must spend much more time working with the employee, offering clear instructions and regular follow-up. The leader must be encouraging and motivational, offering praise for positive results and correction for less than positive results. The idea is to motivate the follower to rise to the next level of ability. This is a very leader-driven stage. S2 addresses the follower who has developed some competence with an improved, but perhaps not reliable, commitment. The follower is not convinced yet, but is open to becoming cooperative and motivated. The leader must still focus highly on tasks, and this still requires much of the leader's time, but the focus now also includes developing a relationship with the employee. The supervisor will build upon the trust that has begun to develop, and the encouragement that has been demonstrated. The leader must spend more time listening and offering advice, scheduling the follower for additional training if the situation requires it. The goal in S2 is to fully engage the follower so they can develop to the next level. There is less telling someone what to do and more suggesting and encouragement, acting as a coach. It is a recognition that they have progressed and motivates them to progress even further. This is a very leader-driven stage. S3 addresses the follower who is now competent at the job, but remains somewhat inconsistent and is not yet fully committed. The follower may be uncooperative or performing as little work as possible, despite their competence with the tasks. The leader must participate with and support the follower. The leader no longer needs to give detailed instructions and follow up as often, but does need to continue working with the follower, to ensure the work is being done at the level required. In S3, the follower is now highly competent, but is not yet convinced in his or her ability, or not fully committed to do their best, and to excel at the task. The leader must now focus less on the tasks assigned and more on the relationship between the follower, the leader, and the group. This is a very follower-driven, relationship-focused stage. S4 is the ultimate goal. A follower who feels fully empowered, and competent enough to take the ball and run with it, with minimal supervision. The follower is highly competent, highly committed, motivated and empowered. In S4, the leader can now delegate tasks to the follower, and observe with minimal required follow-up, knowing that acceptable or even excellent results will be achieved. There is a low focus on tasks and a low focus on relationships. There is no need to compliment the follower on every task, although continued praise for outstanding performance must be given as appropriate. This is a very follower-driven stage. This table illustrates the 4 levels of maturity, and the recommended leadership style for each. Read through this carefully, before continuing. Read through the following situations and the leadership styles applied. In Situation 1, You're about to leave for an extended holiday, and your tasks will be handled by an experienced colleague. He's very familiar with your responsibilities, and he's excited to do the job. Instead of trusting his knowledge and skills to do the work, you spend hours creating a detailed list of tasks for which you'll be responsible, and instructions on how to do them. The result? Your work gets done, but you've damaged the relationship with your colleague by your lack of trust. What went wrong? He was an M4 in maturity, and yet you used an S1 leadership style instead of an S4, which would have been more appropriate. In situation 2, you've just been put in charge of leading a new team. It's your first time working with these people. As far as you can tell, they have some of the necessary skills to reach the department's goals, but not all of them. The good news is that they're excited and willing to do the work. You estimate they're at an M3 maturity level, so you use the matching S3 leadership style. You coach them through the project's goals, pushing and teaching where required, but largely leaving them to make their own decisions. As a result, their relationship with you is strengthened, and the team's efforts are a success. Hersey and Blanchard argue that leaders are more effective when they use a leadership style based on the individuals or groups they're leading. They suggest we use the following steps. Step 1. Assess the task, and what are required. Step 2. Identify whom you're leading. Are your followers knowledgeable about the task? Are they willing and excited to do the work? Step 3. Rate them on the M1-M4 maturity scale, and Step 4. Use the leadership style that's appropriate for that rating. The situational leadership model has been very influential, and proves useful to managers, who are aware of their own strengths and weaknesses, and have a degree of confidence in their ability to analyze a situation, and apply differing leadership styles. Learning to apply situational leadership takes time, and the first step in this process is understanding. Understanding that different situations require you to think before you act, to analyze before you make decisions. Once mastered, you will be able to continually develop your situational competence. There are a number of activities to complete for this unit. Take the time to complete these in your manual. In this way, you will better learn from and retain the knowledge covered in this unit. Many thanks for your time. Want to learn more? Go to one of our websites to view our many courses on leadership.